So Matt, I see that you brought some of your family here today to celebrate your 100K Club achievement. Would it be cool if we bring them on the couch and have a talk?
Perfect, that'd be great.
Sweet. All right, so we're here joined by Matt King's grandfather, Bill, today. And Bill was a welder of 15 years, I believe. Is that correct?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, 15 years. And so, Bill, when did you first start welding? What year was that?
That was about 65.
65, okay. 1965, and y'all were just stick welding back then.
Right.
No TIG, nothing else really, just stick welding. And I believe we talked about it earlier, you all didn't have flux on your welding rods.
No, I started out with a handful of bare rods,
Okay.
which was just about every time you struck an arc with them, they'd stick, you know.
Yeah.
And they'd get aggravating. And I
Yeah.
kept wanting off them bare rods. I knew the flux was a lot better welding, you know.
Right.
But they wanted you to get used to stick rods, you know.
Right. Because they were always sticking, you know.
I spent about a week and a half, something like that, you know, bare rods. Once I got on the flux, it was so much easier. It wouldn't stick, you know.
Okay. And so what type of jobs did you do? Did you stay locally to your home, or did you do any traveling, or what was that like?
Well, I stayed home to start with, and I got called out on the road a couple times
Okay.
and done a smokestack in Philadelphia, 231 feet up. And that was something I wasn't used to, you know. But,
Right.
it worked out pretty good. Felt safe up there anyway.
Yeah.
Had a cable around there, and we was tied off. We could only go so far.
Okay.
And you just had to take your time, make sure your steps and everything, you know.
And what year was that? Was it 60s?
That was in about 67.
Yeah, so was there like safety and JSAs back then?
Right.
And hot work permits?
I can't remember really.
Right.
Well, there probably wasn't.
There wasn't OSHA.
It
That's
wasn't
for sure.
OSHA, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, and so what do you think about, I guess, Matt getting into the welding industry and how it's changed from whenever you was welding? What are your thoughts on that? Like do you think welding has went in the right direction nowadays, or do you think it's went in the wrong direction with how they do things?
Oh, I'd say it's went in the right direction.
Okay.
A lot of difference between then and now, you know.
Right.
And I'd definitely say it's in the right direction.
Okay. Because I'd say, I guess, back whenever you guys were welding, there really wasn't that much quality control. But nowadays, they're X-raying all the welds, and, you know, they're phaser-raying all the welds. And maybe you guys had some kind of quality control, but maybe not because now they take an ultrasound and they go over the weld, they make sure that the whole thing, I guess, sound penetrates it and everything, and it makes sure that it's a complete weld, you know?
No discrepancies in there.
Yeah, nothing. No tolerance is allowed.
No tolerance for weak points or
Nothing.
anything.
Yeah, the shop I worked in for 10 years there, we done a lot of X-ray welding.
Okay.
Some of it was 100% X-ray, and if you found a bad spot, you had to take an air arc and
Gouge it out.
gouge it out, redo it, re-X-ray it.
Okay. And was that mostly stick welding on that job? In that shop?
Most time,
Okay.
I done a submerged arc.
Okay. Gotcha.
I done a lot of that.
Okay.
I got back problems. I had to get off of that job, you know.
Right. Just because you was, I guess, with the sub arc, you was having to control it with a remote and watch it.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, Matt, you know, I appreciate you bringing your family here today. It's really cool talking to some older generational welders because, you know, it's always fascinating talking to them and seeing how the times have changed with welding and, you know, what changed, what stayed the same. And so it's really fascinating, you know, for a lot of people just to talk to, you know, older welders and also just you know, every once in a while you'll meet welders who are on the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline or something like that, and they've always got really cool stories to tell, you know.
Absolutely. I always seek out whoever's been there the longest.
Okay.
To see what they know, kind of pick their brain, get some stories from them, and get them talking.
Right.
And see like all the stuff that they've been through in their career and like what they would change and what they like about it and what they wouldn't do again and stuff like that.
Right, so you don't make, you know, like the same mistakes they did, and also they have a lot more information than someone on like TikTok or Facebook. So it's
Absolutely.
better just to ask the older guy on the job how, you know, how to do something or how to fix something. It's really, I guess the most important thing is how to fix a weld.
Yep.
Because you'll mess up a lot, and the most important thing is how to fix it when you mess up.
Right.
You know, so because no one's
fix a repair before you catch a repair.
Yeah, fix a repair before you catch a repair. If you see something wrong, fix it there. Don't
wait.
don't say you're going to do it later, because you're not really going to fix it later, you know.
Yep.
Right.
So, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us on the couch at KWI with Matt and Bill. This is some generational family welding going on here, you know, and it's really cool to have these guys on the show. So, thanks for being here.